Hello, friends. Hello, Mr. Hassan. Hello, everyone. So today we're from Group Two. We're gonna present the topic of dissociative identity disorder, and this is our group. We're from Group Two, Class E, Psychology of University of 11 Maret, and we have 7 members here, and those are Naufal Rizky Fadilah, Nonik Meili Nasari, Minur Amaliana Safitri, Nurliza Barakawati, Rahel Amanda, Risa Utami, and Rizaldi Setiawan.
Okay, before we start our talks, I have a question. Uh, have you ever thought of killing your own teammates but can't due to the law? Okay, save them, but don't worry. It is good because if you restrain from doing so, then you are still stay sane. It means that you are not having the ID. Okay, so today's topic is about dissociative identity disorder. Have you ever heard about it? Okay, yes, dissociative identity disorders. Gliffs in 2010 said that the ID is viewed as the most complex and severe of the dissociative disorders, a category that also includes dissociative amnesia, dissociative truth, and the personalization disorder. As a psychology student, of course, we should learn about mental disorders. We have collected and summarized anything related to the ID. Okay, in short, the idea is when someone feels or observes like they have two or more personalities. It is previously known as multiple personality disorder. Okay, so what are we going to discuss in this talks? We are going to discuss more about first definition of the ID, what is dissociative identity disorder. Second, causes of the ID. How come someone has dissociative identity disorder? And third, symptoms of the ID. What are symptoms of dissociative identity disorders? Fourth, the complication of the ID. Is there any complication along with dissociative identity disorders? And the last part is about treatment of the ID. How to treat people with dissociative identity disorders. Okay, let's move to the main content of our presentation. Okay, Nonik, time is yours.
Okay, in here I will go on to main point. The first is definition of dissociative identity disorder. Next. Before we get know about the causes, symptoms, and so on, we should know about what DID actually is. DID or dissociative identity disorder is a psychological condition where disturbance to a person's sense of identity causes them to feel or be observed by others to have two or more separate personalities. It was previously known as multiple personality disorder. Dissociative identity disorder is usually long-term and is a response to extreme trauma. And then causes of dissociative identity disorder. This disorder usually develops as a way of dealing with a trauma. Dissociative disorder most often form in the children exposed to long-term cycle, sexual or emotional abuse. Natural disaster and combat can also cause dissociative disorder. Okay, next will be explained by my friend Rachel.
So, after discussing about causes of dissociative identity disorders, we will discuss about the symptoms of dissociative identity disorders. Based on International Journal of Medicine and Biological Sciences, disruption of identity characterized by two or more distinct personality states, which might be described in some cultures as an experience of possession. The disruption of marked discontinuity in the sense of self and sense of agency, accompanied by related alteration in affect, behavior, consciousness, memory, perception, cognition, and sensory-motor functioning. These signs and symptoms may be observed by others or reported by the individual. Recurring gaps in the recall of everyday events, important personal information, and traumatic events inconsistent with ordinary forgetting. The symptoms cause clinically significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important functioning areas. And for the next will be explained by my friends.
A person with dissociative identity disorder can go through traumatic changes in behavior and speech patterns from one occasion to another. The person switches from identity to identity or feels the presence of two or more people living inside their head. Each identity may have its own name and characteristics such as voice, expressions, and mannerisms. There are three main characteristics of the ID. The first one is disruption of identity, where the person has two or more distinct personality states. This is different to having an imaginary friend, which is not a sign of a mental health problem. It is also different to possession by a spirit or entity in some cultures or religions, which is not considered a disorder. Second, a change in identity. This may impose altered behaviors, emotions, thoughts, memories, and perceptions. This may be observed by others or felt by a person. Plus, repeated and excessive gaps in memory. It could have meant amnesia for everyday events or important personal information, large portions of childhood or traumatic events. The person may not be able to recall memories or people they have met from when they were in another personality state. Next will be explained by my friend.
Okay, moving to the next part, we're going to talk about the complications of dissociative identity disorders. People with dissociative identity disorder might have complications with other mental illnesses, such as anxiety, depression, psychosis, post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD, borderline personality disorder, somatic symptom disorder, eating disorder, and obsessive compulsive symptoms. People with dissociative identity disorder may also do self-harm, feel suicidal, or have a substance abuse disorder. Okay, the next point will be explained by my friend.
Okay, so we have come to the last part of the main point of this stage, which is the treatment of dissociative identity disorder. Next. Based on Health Diagnostics website, there is no medicine specifically for dissociative identity disorder, but the main form of treatment for dissociative identity disorder is long-term psychotherapy. This usually involves frequent and regular sessions with a therapist for a number of years. The aim is to improve symptoms and functioning, with reduction in dissociation, distress, self-harm, and suicidal thoughts. Many people who suffer from dissociative identity disorder also struggle with other mental illnesses like depression and anxiety. Although these other mental health disorders are frequently treated with medication, there is no medication specifically available for dissociative identity disorder. The conclusion of this material will be explained by my friend.
Okay, thank you, Nolisa. Okay, this is the end, is a conclusion. Having the one of slurring your friends does not necessarily indicate that you have ADHD, but the ability to hold years of doing so is one to sign that reflects your sanity. In other words, it's okay, just don't commit to jokes. Be aware of those around you. Be there from them to talk about their problems, have some empathy, and be considerate. If I may recall the points, there are several mental peaks I'd like to remind you of. The ID is a mental state where a person felt like they're having two or more personality. There are a few signs regarding the problem, and those are a disruption in identity. A change in identity that affect aspects like emotion, behavior, and also repeat and excessive amnesia for everyday events. People who suffer from the ID may, okay, sorry. People who suffer from the AD may also suffer other mental disorders such as anxiety, PTSD, OCD, or even worse disorder. There are no specific medication to the ID, but long-term psychotherapy. Okay, this is the end of our presentation. Thank you all for listening our presentation and thank you for next attention. See you.